Hello, everyone. Invited to join the video lecture series of Rish Gyanwar University, in which today I discuss about the atmospheric pollution. So that atmospheric pollution is one of the important concern for the sustainability of our life. In this particular case, we are using the different techniques by which atmospheric pollution can be minimized, and whatever in this particular case the adverse effect on human health are also concerned. So we will discuss about what are the atmospheric pollution. So first of all we have to see the environment. What is the environment? All around us, that is the part of the environment. Whatever we have surrounding this, then whole is the environment. The environment also concern the different universal celestial bodies which are also affecting the environment itself. How? Because we have earlier the moon mission as well as the Mars mission. So those are also the part of the universe, as well as the solar system. So let's we have to discuss what about the environment. Environment, what we means we have to see it, see all around us, and that then those are the fields. For example, if suppose air is there, so air, that is the part of the environment. Air, whatever the air, this is a shield of air. This is the shield of air concerned with the atmosphere. So how we can say the earth, and above the earth itself is the atmosphere. So environment, the major components are the atmosphere, lithosphere, biosphere, then we have the hydrosphere, because air and water both are most relevant for the human health. So therefore, how this human health which is there, so human health can be for the sustainable, they have to reach up to optimum level. But because of the atmosphere with pollution, there are so many adverse effects on the atmosphere as well as their effect on the human health also. So various human health effects are there, and that is certainly the cause of the atmospheric pollution. So the meaning of the pollution, one thing, and the component of pollution are the pollutants. What we have, the pollutants are responsible for the pollution, and pollution itself, that is the adverse effect on the human being. What are the atmosphere adverse effect on the human being? If suppose the toxic gases which are generated by human activities, and these toxic gases go to the atmosphere, and where they gives adverse effect. For example, acid rain. So how this acid rain occurs? Because of the atmospheric pollution. And what are those atmospheric pollution? Certain oxides. Whatever those, carbon oxide, then the sulfur oxides, then nitrogen oxide, as well as some other suspended particulate matter, as well as some other gases are also there. For example, if we are using the cooling system, the refrigerators, the air conditioners, in case of those particular certain chemicals which go towards the atmosphere, and that is the whatever we have the part of the ozone layer, and they deplete the ozone layer. So that is the atmospheric pollution. So what we have to find out what are the atmospheric pollution, and what is the meaning of pollution, what about the pollutants. So certainly we have to discuss about all those things. So first of all, we have to see the history of Earth, this planet. This is the Earth planet, that is the part of the sun. and the whole solar system. So whole solar system where the centrally is the sun, and surrounding the sun, the earth revolves continuously like this. So within one things there are days and nights are formed as well as whole year is there. So within 1 year, the Earth revolves, and this is as a third planet surrounding the Sun. So, what about the history of Earth? So, about 6.4 billion years ago, the Earth itself was a hot ball. Like so, that hot ball, the part of the Sun. So, then continuously hot ball cooled down, and around 3.6 billion years ago, the life was sustained. So whatever this the water and then the life originate. So this is the part of the whatever the history of the earth where we are living, and then we have the surroundings, that is the environment, and the part of the environment is the atmosphere. So let's we have the structure of earth that is very compact at this particular position, and inside the earth whatever the hot condition, the centrally, then we have the cold condition, so different rocks are there. Then lastly the shell, the outer cover, that is the part of the soil, and then soil, then we are living, whole our infrastructure is there. So therefore that is the part of the earth. Now the earth surrounding layer is the atmosphere. So whatever this is the structure of earth, and we see the inside the earth, that is the litho, that is the geo part, geology. So that is the geochemistry, the geology. So that is the science of the earth. So geology, the science of the earth, and where the different chemicals present inside the earth, those are the geochemistry. So all those concerned with the certain specific compounds which are present, and then they all make the earth composition. So that's whatever we have the structure of earth, and then we have to come towards the environmental components. Whatever I have discussed, the environment components, basically you can say the division into two things. What are those? The living or non-living. But later on, these are further extended into the four atmosphere, that related with the outer of the earth. So that layer, then hydrosphere, that relates with the seas, and oceans, that the water resources bodies. Then we have the lithosphere, and lithosphere, that is the composition of earth. So that is the different minerals, whatever including the petroleum, that is also the mineral oil. So that is inside the earth. So that is also the coal. Those are also the part of the earth. So all those minerals, including the coal, including the petroleum, which are in the part of the lithosphere. Then we have the different seas, for example, Antarctic Sea, the Pacific Sea, here in India, the southern side, that is the Indian Sea. So different seas and oceans are present, and as well as different water bodies. Okay, what are those water bodies? The different bigger rivers, whatever the smaller rivers, then the ponds, talabs, whatever those the water resources, streams. So as well as the north of Earth, that is the part Antarctic, whatever the top of northern side, and then southern side, that is the Antarctic. So all these concerned with the water, because water having the three different phases: liquid, that is in the form of the water. So that is the part whatever the hydrosphere. But in solid form, the water is present in ice. So that is the ice. So ice is also present in the north of our planet and the south of the our planet. So that particular itself is also the part of the hydrosphere. For example, in case of the Ganga river, which flows from the Uttarakhand, so that is the glacier. So slowly that particular glacier melts down and we get the river in the form of the Ganga river, and whatever that particular Ganga river comes from the Gangotri. So that Gangotri is the glacier. So whole part is the atmosphere. Whatever the different dams are prepared on the rivers. So that is the other issue, but that is also the water issues. Similarly, underground water. So now the atmosphere, which contains the air part. However, in the air part, there are certain pollutants which are generated by the human being. So those are the, because of the technological development, because of the human needs, human greeds, whatever that particular atmosphere is polluted. So that's is the atmosphere, and major part is the air. Whatever how we can say that aeroplane fly in the sky. So that is the atmosphere. So in part of the atmosphere, this flies. Whatever the other part, for example, Indian Space Research Organization, so that have the artificial satellites. So those artificial satellites are kept in their respective orbit, because so therefore those satellites launching vehicles those also through the atmosphere, and then the artificial satellite remain there. So that is also the part of the atmosphere. Air itself is mostly in which the medium where we can say the shell that is the part of the generally part of the gaseous condition, but certainly certain liquid, whatever those the moisture particles are also there in the atmosphere, as well as the clouds are there. So the rainy part, whatever the component of the rain, those are also present in the atmosphere in the form of the solid ice, in the form of the snow. So all that is the atmosphere. Then the major concern is the oxygen. Why oxygen is required for human sustainability? Because we respirate when the two activities occurs, the exhalation and inhalation. So with the inhalation we take the oxygen, we take the air, and certainly here the major concern is also relevant with the oxygen. So why we needs the oxygen? Because of the all physiological activities, physiological concern of human body, or we can say the biological concern of human body needs the oxygen for the whatever that particular vital reactions. So therefore, oxygen itself is present in air and we inhale. And then what happen? Then inhale the oxygen and then exhales the carbon dioxide as well as the toxic gases. So oxygen itself is one of the part. Then we have the pollution and pollutant, whatever we can already discuss. Then the toxicity. What are those toxic materials, toxic compounds? What do you mean by the toxicity? So toxicity, toxic compounds. For example, if suppose we have the certain particles, for example, the whatever we have the certain toxic metals which are suspended in the form of suspended particulate matter in the air. That is the part of the atmosphere. So toxic gases, those relevant with the human health, and toxic gases are hazards for the human health. So therefore certain chemicals are responsible for the toxicity for human being. So what we have to concern about, there are certain toxic gases also. Carbon monoxide, how we get the carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. That is because of the fossil fuel combustion. So fossil fuel, the petrol, the diesel, the kerosene, the LPG, the CNG. So these are the fossil fuel, and which then the coal. So these fossil fuel undergo the process of the combustion with in presence of oxygen. So therefore, those carbon-containing compounds, organic compounds, are converted into the carbon oxide. So out of two carbon oxides, one is the carbon monoxide, another is the carbon dioxide. The carbon monoxide is very toxic. So that occurs, that release in the atmosphere because of the combustion of the fuel, combustion of petrol, combustion of diesel, combustion of LPG, combustion of CNG. So kerosene. So those are the conversion into the carbon monoxide as well as carbon dioxide. So whatever carbon monoxide, this one is the pollutant and toxic gas. So why this is toxic? Because of the carbon monoxide. So whatever inside our body, the hemoglobin, that is the part of the blood. So hemoglobin undergo the reaction with carbon monoxide and form the toxin. So whatever death may be occur, if suppose we are in the surrounding whole of the carbon monoxide. So carboxy hemoglobin, so that particular toxicity increases in our body system, inside our body, and that is the pollutant. So whatever number of pollutants are available, including the toxic metals and as well as the carbon monoxide. So let's we have to see whatever the again the total of our surrounding, all the things around us with which we interact, the living animals, that is the part of the biosphere which we interact. One thing more is there. So whatever if microorganism is there, so whatever if pests are there, if insects are there, so they have whatever we have the pet dogs, pet animals, so all those animals and then different plants. So living things, animals, plants, forest and fungi, etc. And whatever the part of the environment, then living, non-living, that is the we have already discussed it. We have the clouds, the whatever the oceans, whatever the environmental buildings. So human created living centers, social relationship and institutions. So human and the world around us. Now the simple definition of the atmospheric pollution, and we have to see the different pictures are there. So what about those particular pictures? And definitely in one picture the human being smokes the cigarette. So what happened in the part of the cigarette? So different pollutants, different toxic chemical which are inhaled by us, as well as those also pollute the whole of the surrounding atmosphere. So with the cigarette, the smoking, what we have, our body is also get the pollutants, and definitely our body becomes the hazards as well as the surrounding atmosphere where the different gases uh, by the smoking of the cigarette. So therefore, this is one of the part of the atmospheric pollution. Then in second picture, which we have the different industrial industries. So out of different industries, certainly certain gaseous pollutants are liberated, and those gaseous pollutants into the atmosphere, and then the whole is become the pollution. So what we have, for example, in case of the electricity production, so electricity itself is produced by the coal. So coal-based industries. So what happened during the manufacture the electricity generation, the coal itself, the gaseous portion after burning of coal is released into the atmosphere, and that particular in the form of the gaseous condition or whatever in the suspended particulate matter, so those goes to the atmosphere, and that become the pollution. In the case of the third case, the different traffic systems, whatever the interaction with the atmospheric conditions, whatever we have the different cloud, different rain, the cloud burst, whatever the landslides, so different floods, different droughts. So all of those are the part over the earth. But definitely certain pollutants are released into the atmosphere. So whole traffic, it's traffic congestion in a particular area. In that particular area, there the reduction of the oxygen level in that particular air. So definitely we respirate, we need the air, and then the composition of air is changed because of the transportation system, because of the so many industrial aspects, and because of the burning of the fuel in our food kitchen. That is also the part relevant. The combustion of the fuel, whatever those combustion, definitely they release the certain toxic gases, and those gases gives the fully the atmospheric pollution. So now the atmospheric pollution occurs when the air contains gases, whatever it is, the dust particles, which are also because of the light and weight, so dust particle also above to the atmosphere. That is the fumes. What are the fumes? We have to see the picture in which the different fumes are there, and those odors are also harmful amount. So this picture clearly indicates whatever the different industrial aspects, so different industries are situated surrounding the water bodies, and we get the certain toxic gases which are in the atmosphere, and those are the particles in the. Then we can see that is also that is what we have health hazards because of the smoking. So this is also the part of the atmospheric pollution. In certainly certain toxic gases are released in the atmosphere. For example, nitrogen oxides. Then we have the carbon oxides. Then we have the sulfur oxide. And similarly, these industrial byproducts which are released into the air, into the atmosphere, and certainly they have the toxicity, whatever that particular causes adverse effect for the human being. So this picture clearly indicates that is the part of the atmosphere. So simple definition of atmosphere, that is the uh, air content, whatever unwanted uh, composition occurs. So we have the air, the optimum condition for the air itself says that to about 20% must be the oxygen. But because of the variation, and those are the human activities, so therefore that is harmful amount they are increased. It is when concentrated gases exceeds the safe limit, whatever that particular. So air quality concern is there. Now, we can say one more thing is there, and that we can say what are the types of air pollution. So here, definitely the industries release a large amount of the gases and which are the pollutants. Now we can say so certainly uh, uh, here one more thing is there, whatever the living of human being, whatever the organization, whatever the get together, whatever is suppose in the classroom. So in a classroom, 90 students are there, 60 students are there, and then whole classroom is the closed. whatever in case of the air conditioning classroom, whatever that particular part of the infrastructure. Different organizations which are there, different industries, even our houses. So houses, whatever the rooms. So in that particular case, we have the two types of air pollution. One, that is the whatever the indoor and outdoor. Outdoor we have discussed a number of things, whatever the acid rain, whatever the ozone layer depletion, those are the concern of the air pollution. Now, but inside the room, inside any of the organization, inside whatever we are living area. So that particular living area whole is the covered. So that is the shelter. That is because of the technology enhancement. So here inside a room we have a number of items. Whatever the thing, if there is the wall, so wall that is decorated with the help of the paint because we need the beauty of that particular surround us. So definitely those paints are concerned with certain chemicals. In other case, the different articles, different items which are present around us. So those are also made up of the different materials and those different materials concerned with the different compound, different chemicals. And out of those chemicals, certain chemicals are toxic. Even the wall, the paint, whatever the colors, those colors is because of the toxic metals. So certainly the toxic metals release as well as because of the human activities, the respiration, so where exhalation and inhalation occurs. So indoor pollution, one thing. Outdoor pollution, outdoor air pollution, whatever we are discussing. So whatever the smog, whatever the particulate, whatever the acid rain, greenhouse effect. So these, the structure, whatever the whole of the transportation system, that is the part of the outer. But inside the room, we have also undergo the process of pollution. So later, so let's we have the two types of outdoor air pollution we have to see. Then we have the indoor air pollution. Whatever, if suppose indoor uh, stadium is there, so indoor we have. So that is the two types. What are the causes? The natural resources. And what are those natural resources? If a volcano, one thing. If the forest fire, another thing. So there are the smokes come out from the wildfire, that is the forest fire. Then the bursting of the volcanoes. So therefore, different organic compounds, different toxic gases are released into the atmosphere. Whatever the electricity power plant, that big gases are released by the this plant. So what about this plant? This electricity itself is generated as well as certain fires in the petroleum wells. So definitely we got undergo the a capturing of we are capturing the different pollutants because continuously we inhale the air and if so there the air itself is polluted and so differently so definitely those who inside these are the causes. Now next one whatever all of the things we have already discussed number of here because of the human activities whatever the anthropological activities. So during the anthropological activities the advancement in our life. So about 60 lakh chemicals are added during the last 60 years. And those chemicals, however, those chemicals gives us the different solutions. For example, if suppose we have to concern about the different disease, so that is the part of the medical, that is the part of the pharmacy, and in which certain chemicals which are relevant with the treatment of very diseases. So certain chronic diseases are treated with the help of certain chemicals. Because of those chemicals, and they gives the treatment of the different disease. So number of chronic diseases are there. Even the simple disease we are using certain chemicals. For example, for the antipyretic concern, when we have the fever, so certainly we are taking the paracetamol, or in case of the paracetamol, the chemical is responsible for that. So different the aspect of the drugs, what were the different aspects of the medicines. So in case of the drugs and medicine, certain chemicals are responsible. So therefore those are helpful for our health purpose. But whatever, if suppose we have the certain toxic metals, and those certain toxic metals are in the atmospheric part. Whatever in suppose we have taking the sample of the blood, and in which the certain testing laboratories also done the job of the toxic metals. So certainly in a blood, how those toxic metals are is because of the environment, because of the part of the atmosphere. Why? Atmosphere is directly related with the human health, because in 1 minute we respirate 72 times. So during that exhalation and inhalation, because we are taking the atmospheric material in the form of the air through the nose, and that atmospheric material go inside our body and then reaches to the whatever the lungs, and where the lungs purify the blood. So certainly because of the oxygen we are breathing, so whatever the surrounding, so surrounding air must be clean. But how this can happen? Because when we are in a traffic congestion, for example, various various transport vehicles are coming into the traffic center. So traffic congestion. So whatever they release, that different vehicles releases different toxic gases, and those toxic gases, whatever those toxic gases are responsible directly, relevant with our health. So those are the cause, cause of the different atmospheric pollution, and then those effects ourselves. So definitely there are certain chronic effects, long time effects, because of the air, because of the air pollutants. So air pollutants, and those the amount of air pollutant increase. So whatever, definitely the air pollutant go inside our body, and they damages our the vital organs. Certainly vital organs, whatever the lungs, so lungs are affected. Whatever, because of the breathing problems are there. So certainly we get the toxicity because of the air pollution, because of the atmospheric pollution. So air itself is polluted, atmosphere itself is polluted. So there are certainly whatever we have already discussed, the volcanoes eruption. So definitely because of the volcano eruption, certain toxic materials are thrown towards the atmosphere. Then the traffic, the transportation, the vehicles. So whatever all of you have know about the different the systems, different transportation systems, including the aeroplane. So aeroplane also needs certain fuel. So that certain fuels, whatever those, the petrol, aviation petrol. So that particular petrol, when the aeroplane fly in the sky, so where go that particular carbon oxides? Because that is released during the flying of the aeroplane. So certainly, where go that particular carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, sulfur oxide? So those are released into the atmosphere. So that is the big challenge for ourselves. So how we can see and human sources, whatever there may be, we have discussed number of discussion and whatever the smoking, so that particular smoke or whatever the flash, the fire, the digester, fire digesters, so wildfire. So those are the responsible as well as the human being, the power plant, the whatever the burning food, burning stove, fireplaces, and certain furniture. So let's we have the certain questions. So whatever this one of the question related with the air pollution. So pick out one that is not one of the effect of ozone layer depletion. So whatever we have already discussed, ozone layer depletion. So this one, the cataract, the damaged paints and fibers, the sunburn, increase in the moisture content of the soil. The correct answer is the D. So ozone layer depletion leads to increase in the evaporation of surface water through the stomata of the leaves and decrease the moisture content of the so this is one of the effect and in the evaporation of the surface water through the stomata of the leaves and decrease the moisture content. So this is now the next one. The amount of carbon dioxide should not cross the delicate proportion of which of the following. Here, the amount of carbon dioxide optimum for the environment should be 0.03%, and this 0.03% itself, whatever that percent into the concern of the part per million, so that is about 256 part per million, whatever that is 0.0265, but that was the optimum. But certainly this is increase up to 0.312, so 0.0256%, and that is increase. If this percentage crossed, then the natural greenhouse balance may get the disturbed. And since carbon dioxide is the major contributor of global warming, but low concentrations are also not desirable. It can lead to kidney disease, and this condition can cause the body blood acid level to go up due to the lack of the insulin to digest sugar. So that is also one of the carbon dioxide concern. So there are major adverse effect of the that is the pollution, that is the air pollution. Now the another question, which of the following is the suitable climate for photochemical smoke? So photochemical smoke, this one we have to back to the more the London smoke earlier, and in which a number of people have died. So that is the photochemical smoke. So this concern with the sunrise, whatever when sunrise occurs, so there are certain radiations occurs on appears on the ground, and when we have the transportation system, whatever the national highways, so here at that particular national highways, because of the transport pollution, because of those particular air pollution, so here which of the following is the suitable climate for photochemical smoke? to occur. So this here the correct answer is the dry and warm condition. Why warm up? Because when sun rise and then whole night, whatever that particular the transportation system, so certain nitrogen oxides, certain other relevant so photochemical smog occurs in a warm, dry sun climate. The main component of the photochemical smog results from the excess of sunlight on unsaturated hydrocarbon and nitrogen oxides produced by the automobile and different factories. So London is one of the deadly activities occurs during the last about 100 years ago and 80 years ago, and in which so many people have died. That is the London smog because of the smog. So that is the disaster at this such type of disaster was made by the man-made. So now which of the gases cause the eye irritation? So definitely here the correct answer it is the acrolein hydrocarbon compound, and in which the acrolein is a colorless clear liquid with a pungent suffocating odor, and it is a toxic gas so which if exposed can cause irritations in the eyes, skin, and also causes the respiratory tract irritation. So acrolein is highly flammable and produces the toxic concentration. So whatever we can see, that is part of the atmospheric pollution. So why the eye irritation? This is one of the concern and one of the whatever we get because of the atmosphere. In atmosphere, the transportation system, and the transportation system is one of the backbone of human activities, human technology, human sustainability. We certainly needs a transport system. So during the that particular gases, different gases are liberated. Most is the photochemical smoke, and this occurs because of the sunrise. So whatever the continuously the different transportation system moves on the different highways, different roads, different railways, different aerodromes, airports, because of even those in the atmosphere, the flying of those particular aeroplane. So whatever, if suppose and one of the concern of the USA airport that is the Atlanta. So in Atlanta, 10 crore people are flying during the one large amount of traffic congestion because of the aeroplane. So definitely they gives the adverse effect. Toward the photochemical smog, this is because of the transportation system. So now we have the another question. So identify the viable pollution obtained from the pollen. Molds, dry leaves, fly air, oil smoke. Mold is an example of a viable. These about the mold are the category of minute living organisms which disperse in the atmosphere. These can lead to plant disease. They can also turn out to be allergic to human beings. So those are the molds are also responsible and one of the pollutants which are present in the atmosphere. They can also turn out to be allergic. Human being then the changes in the temperature or increase in the humidity can also cause the so what is the full form of the PAN? So this is also one of the toxic chemical. So the full form of PAN is the peroxyacetyl nitrate. It is a secondary pollutant. Whatever we have, the primary and secondary, primary are directly produced, then secondary through that. So secondary pollutant present in a photochemical smoke and is unstable. They can dissolve more easily in water and ozone, and it is the formula of C2H3 and 5, and boiling point is 105 degrees. So peroxy acetyl nitrate, and this one is the one of the concern and performed by oxidation, non-methane, volatile organic. Now we have the another question. So this identifies the correct order of the different regions. So that is also the tropophore is the lowest region. Then we have the another question. Is not a gaseous air pollutant. The correct answer is fuel. Hydrogen sulfide is gas. So whatever that is the part of not a gaseous air for carbon itself. So thanks for all for listening. All of you are thankful for listening my video lecture and seeing the different slides which are given in presentation. So let's we have the continuation of the knowledge, and I will provide the more relevant video lectures. So you have to support me for to see these. But whatever if there is any of the question relevant with the chapters or relevant with the science and technology, then you have to go through the Suresh Kanviar University website, where my mobile number, my contact number, my email ID are given. So all of you are welcome. See the Suresh Kanviar University website, and we have more opportunity to interact the different scientific and technological knowledge, and which are essential part of us. So thank you for following. Okay, all the best for listening, for having the patience. So all of you are welcome to the questions. So anyone interact with me, and my mobile number 98241065 rc.chipa c double h I p at the rate of my Okay, so all the best.